December 24th, 2024, in the Pacific Northwest. Two men set off to capture footage of the world's most famous cryptid, not knowing that they wouldn't be coming home. The police ain't released much personal information such as the names of these two men at the request of their family. But what we do know is that one was aged 37 and the other was 59. They were from Portland, Oregon and were alleged cryptid hunters. Rather foolishly, they set off with little to no planning, not even telling their families where they was going. They drove to Skamania County in Washington State, known as the Bigfoot capital of the world. It is so famed for Mr. Squatch that the county enacted a $1,000 fine for if anyone was to harm Bigfoot. Not to actually protect the big monkey, just to protect folks from being mistaken for Bigfoot and shot at by hunters. And there in Skamania County, they entered Gifford Pinshot National Forest. I think I pronounced that right. Now, although they didn't inform their family where they was going, they did tell them they'd be back by night, but they never showed up. So at 1 a.m. on Christmas morning, the family promptly reported them missing. The Skamania County Sheriff Office launched a search and rescue mission that morning. Props to them for getting the ball moving immediately. Over 60 search and rescue volunteers from various agencies stepped in to help out. They had K9 units, drone operators, ground searchers, and a Coast Guard helicopter with FLIR. For the simple man, FLIR is thermal and infrared imaging, a technology used quite efficiently in dark and foggy environments. They were able to locate the men's cars using flock license plate readers. Flock cameras can not only read license plates, but lock in make and model, color, style, and your damn bumper stickers. Nifty thing when you need to find a car. Now these brave rescuers did battle with freezing temperatures, snow, heavy rain, deep mud, steep terrain, all the dangerous rigmarole you'd expect from the Washington backcountry. And the harsh weather and terrain really did slow down the search, and also put the lives of the rescuers and searchers in danger as well. The search lasted 3 days, and on December 29th, the pair's bodies were found deep in the national forest. They had died from exposure in the elements, and the official reports detail hypothermia. The temperatures were in the low 30s and there was heavy cold rain. That is all the information that has been released to the public. The police have not told the names nor released any pictures of the men, again due to the family's wishes. Now the loss of life is horrible, and my condolences go out to the men's family and friends. That being said, what the hell were they thinking? I am an avid backpacker and outdoorsman. I've been hiking, camping, and backpacking in the Appalachian backcountry since I could damn near walk. And I'm a 4th generation woodsman. So, I'm going to give you some advice that may just save your hide. Never, ever go on a trip like that without telling folks where you're going to be. Especially if you're going to be in true backcountry in a national forest and in the dead of winter. I and many others have camped in winter plenty of times. You can watch me do so on my earlier videos on this channel. And no matter where I went, my wife knew exactly where I would be and exactly how long I would be out there. For the most part. I almost always bring this little Garmin GPS tracker and messenger. It's a little on the pricey side, it's about $300, but it's really worth it when you're on day 7 of your backpacking trip and there's no service. I'll put a link for this down in the description just in case you just want to check it out yourself. And aside from that, I always bring the proper gear for the weather, even if it means overpacking a little bit. One of the funniest comments I get on this channel are the Billy Badasses who poke fun at that I carry so much on my little day trips. But I think that's kind of foolish. The woods don't care about how experienced or rugged you are. If you underestimate it and you come unprepared, it can and will kill you. This accident was completely avoidable. These two men could have remained on this plane of existence if they had told their family where they was going, actually had a plan instead of randomly traveling off into the Pacific Northwest, and brought proper outdoor gears for hiking long distances in the winter cold. And I get it, I like cryptid hunting too. I like watching cryptid hunting videos. I've even done a cryptid hunt on this channel. But good outdoorsmen make the best cryptid hunters. I see so many cryptid hunters and rural explorers on here on YouTube gallivanting off into the backcountry with nothing more than a plastic water bottle and maybe like a cotton t-shirt and jeans. But of course they just don't know no better. They say, oh, it's just a local park, local trail, not that long, we'll be alright. But you don't know that. And if you get lost and you have to have people come out there and search for you, you put them in danger too. There have been many cases of search and rescue people getting lost themselves looking for the person they're looking for. A couple of them have even died, which just compounds the problem. Don't be that guy. Don't let your ego come into play here. You bring as much gear as you want. It don't matter if you're going on a 7-day backpacking trip or on a little day trip that's gonna, take a little couple hours. The most important thing is coming back safe to your family. Be smart, let others know where you're gonna be, bring a source of fire ignition, a way to purify water, and maybe even something in case you need to build a shelter. That being said, let me help you and show you some of the stuff that I would bring on a day trip. One of these days I may do a video on what I bring on like a multi-day trip, like a long distance backpacking trip. For now, we're just going to stick to my little day pack. And all these items I'm going to put down in the description for you to check out yourselves, because I want you to be safe and happy out there in the woods. This right here is a ferro rod. It's completely waterproof. It's very tough and it will last for years. You don't gotta worry about wind blowing it out because it's just sparks. I probably shouldn't be doing this in the house, but I lose things very easily, so I also bring your standard lighter. This is your ignition, and you compare it with something like this. This was actually sent to me by a company called Blackbeard Fire, and these are their fire plugs. These things light up like a vampire slathered in petroleum jelly. Keeps you from freezing to death and allows you to cook out there in the field. This is an emergency sleeping bag. It was sent to me by a company called Sierra Madre. So thanks Blackbeard Fire and Sierra Madre for sending me this. This is lightweight, packs down super small, and it will definitely help in keeping you from freezing to death. I don't always want to pack like a full-size sleeping quilt, so having this when I'm just on a day hike in case I get stuck out there for a night, really nice to have. You pair that with a small, very packable tarp, and boom, you got shelter and warmth for the night. Because you never know what might happen. You might break your leg or get turned around, and you might not have signal to come, call for help. You might have to stay out there for the night until the morning comes. These islands are really good for that. And chances are, if you're lost in the woods, you're going to deplete your water reservoirs really quickly. So have a way to filter water. If you drink water out of a creek or a river or a pond or a lake, it will make you sick. This is a Life Straw one. I got it for like $20 at Wally World. You just fill up the pouch here and you just start drinking. But like I said earlier, I lose stuff a lot. So I also bring this Sierra Madre water filter pen. See, it's shaped like a pen, so you can stick it on your pants and take it with you everywhere. You just take the cap off, stick it in the water, and just start slurping. Very useful. Dehydration is probably one of the things that'll kill you really quickly out there. It's also nice to have a poop shovel. No one wants to come across your stool in the woods. I also like to carry a little boo-boo kit, Band-Aids, Neosporin, stuff like that. And all these items fit perfectly fine in your average day bag. So there's really no excuse not to carry these things. You just gotta, put in the cheddar to get it, which I think is pretty worth it. There ain't no excuse for being unprepared, folks. You don't have to end up like these two men. That's the nectar of Appalachia right there. However, this next story proves that even with proper planning and gear, nature can still very well get the best of you. And this is a very recent story too. Recent as of this month, June 1st of 2025. Literally this month that I'm filming this. Tim Keiderling, age 58, and his daughter Esther, age 28, set out to hike Mount Katahdin, we're gonna go with that, in upstate Maine. For those who ain't part of the backpacking scene, it is the northern terminus onto the Appalachian Trail. A terminus is simply either the start of your trail or the beginning. If you were going to do a through hike of the entire Appalachian Trail, most folks start at the southern terminus in Georgia and they end it at the northern terminus on Mount Katahdin. I really hope I'm pronouncing this right. The father and daughter pair were from New York. Tim was a former bookkeeper and school teacher, and Esther worked for a equipment supply company. And they weren't hiking the entire Appalachian Trail. Instead they were trekking the 12-hour hike from Abel Campground to the summit of Mount Katahdin. And at 10 a.m. on June 1st, they set off on their adventure. Now this weren't no chump trek. To summit the mountain, you gotta hike up somewhere along the lines of like 4,000 feet of elevation. And that mountain often sees sleet, ice, and rain, and horrible wind even in the springtime. And on the day that they were hiking, the winds were up to 40 miles per hour with sleet and rain. I've hiked the mountain on this channel where the wind was around 40 miles per hour in sleet and rain myself, and I'll tell you, it's hell on earth. But these were relatively experienced hikers, and they were sure that they would be able to complete the summit. Although Esther mentioned earlier in the week in a blog post that she did feel a little nervous about the hike, because they did their research for this trip and they knew that it would be a challenge. And unlike the previous pair, they did tell folks where they were going. But the morning after they set off, their car was spotted still at the trailhead around, I'd say, 10 a.m. I think, prompting a search and rescue effort. Said search and rescue effort employed over 50 folks. Just like with the last story, K9 units, ground patrols, and another Coast Guard helicopter using FLIR. But sadly, the day after the search started, on June the 3rd, Tim's body was found by a K9 unit near the summit. And the day after that, Esther's body was found 1,000 feet away from her father in a snow-covered boulder field. The medical examiner determined that Esther died from blunt force trauma, thought to be from sliding down a snowy, bouldery slope, completely uncontrollably. As for Tim, the reports that I've read don't have the conclusive answer to exactly what ended his life, but it's likely from similar conditions, either from sliding or from simply by hypothermia. And unfortunately, Tim and Esther are far from the only folks to have their lives taken at this mountain. Since 1933, which is when the Park Service around this area started officially taking accurate records, 60 folks have lost their lives on Mount Katahdin. And the Park Service conducts about 40 search and rescue missions each year, from people falling off the side and sliding, or from getting hurt, or from hypothermia. Because like I said, this mountain, even in the springtime, is known for being super muddy, having crazy winds, and being very cold and snowy and icy. All of this on such a steep, rugged terrain on that mountain is a hiker's worst nightmare. And even experienced hikers can, have difficulty with that kind of terrain and weather. It's important to never underestimate the Appalachian Mountains. They take more lives than the Western Mountains despite being much smaller. And despite all the lore about dangerous cryptids and spooks that haunt these hollers, it's almost always the unforgiving nature of nature that takes the lives of the unwary. My heart goes out to Tim and Esther and their family. They appear to have been quite loved by their community, and at least they went out doing what they loved doing. And, immersed in nature. And it's sad that this happened in the first place. But I hope you enjoyed this video. And I hope any of the tips and some of the gear I've shown can keep you safe during your own adventure in the backcountry, wherever you may live. Always come prepared, come with a plan, and never underestimate the area that you're in. Anything could happen at any time. I know this video ain't exactly like what I usually do, but it is over 100 degrees this week here in the south, and I am not trudging through the forest during a heat wave. Right now, the air feels like you're trapped inside of a wet Ziploc bag. It ain't fun. But if you did like the video, let me know in the comments what you think about these situations, and if you would like to see more videos like this. And if you haven't already, give me a subscribe. I'm trying to get up to 10,000 subscribers, and we're getting there quite quickly. I'm gonna go dine on some nice crispy tater tots. So, yuns, have a good one.